Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 26 discs of Jorge Bolet. Now, I have to tell you straight off that you can watch this video and see my charming face next to Mr. Bolet's, or you can go read Jed Disler's review at ClassicsToday.com, which is far more detailed than I'm going to be able to do, although we each have our perspectives. We kind of agree on this one, though, I have to say. Or you can do both and get a double dose of Jorge Bolet reviews, and what could be better than that? If I were you, I would do both. First of all, this is one of these things, so you got to be careful because, you know, if you pick it up, you may kill yourself trying. That's number one. Number two, a lot of this stuff has been reissued before and we know what it is. But we're going to go through it and we're going to take it chunk by chunk. This is actually a more or less chronological listing, isn't it? Did they do it that way, or did they did it like, yes, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. Oh, that sucks. You know what? I think we're probably going to have to do it like just the back of the box, make our lives easier so we can see what it is, because it's not grouped by composer or anything, which is really kind of irritating. All right. Well, let's see what's in here. Let's see. CDs 1 and 2, 1977 and 78. First, let's just say straight off, Bolet was not the best studio musician. He much preferred live performances, as Jed points out. He actually encouraged people to make bootlegs of his live performances because he really responded to an audience. So the stuff that's in this thing, this box, here they all are. You know, they're original jackets. There you are, original jackets. The stuff that's in here is of variable quality. I'm going to say that straight up. Also, he didn't join Decca till he was like in his 60s. So he was never a barn-burning virtuoso. He was an elegant virtuoso. I mean, God knows he had the technique. That wasn't the issue. But he really was a warm, romantic, singing kind of pianist. And so by the time he got to Decca, he was a little bit in decline, and he got more tired as time went on. There's no denying that. So actually having these things in chronological order is probably fair. As far as that goes. We begin with Chopin Godowsky, Etudes and Waltzes. Well, Bolet studied with Godowsky, and he really did these things beautifully until, you know, virtuosi like, you know, Marc-André Amelin showed up and started, you know, doing the complete Godowsky Chopin Etudes and whatnot. These were reference recordings, and they still are. I mean, they're beautifully done. They're not as hysterically virtuoso as Hamelin could do it, but they're quite marvelous at the same time. Then we've got the Liszt 5 concert etudes and the Don Juan Fantasy and the Consolations. Bolet was known for his Liszt. And he was known for his Liszt, I think, because it was classy Liszt. You know, Liszt is usually called by people, I don't know who, as like trashy and you know, empty and virtuosic. Well, Bolet really found the meat in Liszt's various works. I don't think Liszt is as trashy as other people say he is, and I love Hell for Leather virtuoso performances, don't get me wrong. But these performances have a sobriety and a musicality that are really, really very potent. And God knows he could play the music. So yeah, his Liszt is always something worth listening to. Then let's see, we've got CDs 3 and 4 are 1980 and 81. The Brahms Handel variations, they're okay. I mean, he does them well. The ending is really very exciting. He does that quite well. The Rager variations on a fugue, variations of fugue on a theme by Telemann. Wow. Now, I've never been terribly excited about the work, but this is a very fine performance of it. It really is, and there weren't very many until Hamelin came along and did them and whatnot. And it still holds its own quite well. It really does, if you like the work, which is not. Schubert Liszt 12-song transcriptions, very nicely done, beautiful, lyrical, attractive performances. Okay, CDs 5 through 10, 1982 and 83. This is the meat of his Liszt stuff. You've got the Année de Pèlerinage Suisse, which is really fine. You've got Italy, Venezia, and Napoli from Année de Pèlerinage 2. The ballad, the Bénédiction de Dieu dans la solitude, Campanella, Funérailles, the Grand Galop Chromatique. Oh, that's so much fun. His performance could have just a little more deviltry in it, I think, actually. The Hungarian Rhapsody number 12, the Liebesträume, very, very beautifully sung out. Mephisto Waltz number 1 and the Piano Sonata. I mean, these are the kinds of works where you really hear his artistry functioning at high volume, I think. You know, because there's no sense that he's overmatched by the technical end, but he really gives the music, I think, character and personality, and makes it sound emotionally significant. That's all I can tell you. You'll hear it. When you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. The Rigoletto paraphrase is great. The Valse Impromptu is wonderful. And you've got the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto number 3 with the LSO and Fischer. This is one of those, it's not a Martha Argerich style performance. It's not crazy, as Jed points out. It's much more symphonic in concept, but very, very well done and beautifully integrated with the orchestra. Fischer actually conducted, I think, some of his best concerto recordings. So then we've got, let's see, 84, 85 CDs, 11 through 14. The Liszt Transcendental Etudes, not the flashiest ones out there. I really think there are better versions of the Transcendental Etudes. I think Jed likes these performances a little better than I do. I like just a little more flash. I really do. But, you know, they're okay. And then some encores, Mendelssohn, Chopin, Schubert, Debussy. Some of them are quite lovely. Grieg and Schumann piano concertos with Chailly and the Berlin Radio Symphony. Blah. Totally flat and lifeless. Liszt Hungarian Fantasy, Malédiction, Totentanz with Fischer and LSO. Really good. Again, the Liszt. I mean, it's one of his best concerto recordings, no question about that. The Schubert Liszt Wanderer Fantasy with Schulte and the Linden Phil. I like that. That's fun, and it's such a wonderful arrangement. We should hear it more often. CDs 15 through 20, 86, 87. Chopin, Ballades, Barcarolle, Fantasy in F minor, 4 nocturnes, Preludes Opus 28, as Jed points out, and I agree. The Preludes are probably the best of that batch. His Chopin, I don't know, for some reason, maybe he was just getting up there in age. It just doesn't seem to catch fire for me. Rachmaninoff, Chopin Variations, Liebeslied, Liebesfreude, Melodies, 5 Preludes, pretty good. Rachmaninoff is pretty good. You know, in the thickets of notes, he finds the main line and carries it well. Schumann, Carnival, the Fantasy in C. The Fantasy is better than Carnival. Carnival, well, I have issues with Carnival anyway, so I might maybe not the best person to judge it. But I find the performance a little bit flat, a little bit uninteresting. But the Fantasy is beautifully done. The Franck Symphony in D minor with the Concertgebouw, I mean, that has nothing to do with him, but at least it's the original disc, with the symphonic variations with Chailly and the Concertgebouw. Both the symphony and the variations are very, very nicely done. Really well done. I enjoy hearing any modern recording of the symphonic variations. It used to be standard stuff, and then it disappeared, but it's such a beautiful piece, and it's very, very good for Bolet, because it's the kind of piece that hides its virtuosity under a beautiful lyrical surface. And he's so good at doing that kind of stuff. He really is. Let's see. Rachmaninoff Concerto number 2, Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto number 1 with Dutoit. Nothing special. Really nothing special. CDs 21 through 25, 1988-89. Debussy 16 Preludes. That's books 1 and 2. Boring. Flat. Uninteresting. The Franck Prelude Aria Finale, the Prelude Chorale and Fugue. Better than the Debussy. I mean, definitely better than the Debussy. Schubert Sonatas 14 and 20, nothing special in my book. Then we've got live in Montgomery, Alabama, the Prelude, Chorale and Fugue by Franck. This is better than his studio one. He seems to wake up a little bit. And the Liszt, Norma Reminiscences, and the Mendelssohn Prelude and Fugue in E minor, which is just a flaming masterpiece. These are all very good. They really are. He should have been recorded live more frequently. He just should have. Chopin, Piano Concertos 1 and 2 with Montreal and Dutoit. Nothing special happening there. And CD 26. This is 1990, previously unpublished Chopin 7 Nocturnes in the Berceuse. They are slow, they are cautious, they are uncharacteristic. This is their first release. We didn't need to hear them. And that's the whole set. That's the whole thing. So as you can see, if you have his, what was it, 9-disc Liszt box, I think you're good for Bolet. I don't think you need to bother with this stuff. I really don't. There may be some other things, the Rachmaninoff 3, the Franck Symphonic Variations, the Liszt orchestral, piano and orchestral stuff. Otherwise, this is, it's the Chopin Godowski is wonderful. But we've heard it all before, haven't we? I wish I could be more positive about it, but he was sort of toward the end of his career, and Jed talks about the live stuff that's worth exploring. I think all of that's more important than this box. Go for the Liszt and don't worry about the rest. That's my feeling. However good some of it is, and some of it is. Some of it genuinely is. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.